Hello, Trinity Academy. This is another of our 2-minute mysteries. This is called the case of the Blackmailer. I don't mind telling you, Dr. Haldegen, said Thomas Hunt, that inheriting the Hunt millions has had its nerve-wracking moments. Do you remember Martin, the gardener? Ah, yes, I do remember him, said Haldegen, pouring his young friend a Coke. That's the fellow. I dismissed him upon inheriting the house in East Hampton. Well, 3 days ago he came to my office, bowing and smirking, and demanded $100,000. You see, he claimed to have been tending the trees outside my father's study and said my dad drew up another will, naming his brother in New Zealand sole heir. Now, for those of you who don't know how this works, folks will write up something called a will, which is where they say what happens to everything they have when they die. And so this man that he's talking to, Thomas Hunt, is saying that he just received millions and millions of dollars from his dad when his dad passed away. But this man who used to work for his dad came in saying, oh, you need to pay me $100,000 because actually your dad made a new will and cut you out of it completely. So Dr. Haldegen asked him, you believed him? And Thomas Hunt replied, I confess the news hit me like a thunderbolt. Dad and I had quarreled over my wife Veronica sometime during the last week in November. Dad opposed me getting married, and I guess it does seem plausible that he may have cut me off. Martin asserted he possessed the second will, which he felt sure would be worth a good deal more to me than he was asking. As it was dated November 31st, the day after the executed will, it would be legally recognized, he claimed, therefore, meaning I receive nothing. I refused to be blackmailed. He then tried to bargain, asking only $50,000 and then $25,000. The detective Haldegen asked, though, you paid nothing, I hope, because he was lying. How did he know that he was lying? So again, if you're struggling to keep up with the story, because this uses some things you may not be as familiar with, this gentleman's dad died, and he'd left in a document called a will his money to his son. But this gardener came along and said, but your dad really wrote a different document after that one that removed you completely from the will and left you with nothing. So pay me $100,000 and I'll make sure that this never gets seen, and so that way you get to keep all of your money. But the detective knew he was lying. Have you figured out how? Well, what day did that gardener say the new will was dated? He said it was dated November 31st. Well, if you remember your months of the year and how many days each month has, November only has 30 days. So clearly he is lying, because no will would be dated November 31st. And there you go. That is the case of the Blackmailer.